Have you ever looked at your significant other and thought to yourself, why am I here? Why is this person here? Why am I even doing this? You know, I've been in situations before with Voldemort, with the Taurus, with others, and been laying there looking at them like, why am I doing this? Like you feel a sense of unhappiness, you feel a sense of being unfulfilled. You know this isn't where you want to be. This is not aligning with you. This isn't working for you, is the bottom line. And you're still there. You're still taking their calls. You're still coming over. You're still being intimate. You're still showing up. And you wonder, why am I here? Have you ever experienced that? Because I have, and a lot of people have said that to me, and they're like, why do we keep doing this? So the other day, I was on Instagram, and my girl, Sarah, you guys know, the millennial therapist, posted a list of reasons, and I wanted to read them to you. I haven't read them yet. I only read the first one, and I wanted to read them to you and see what we think of them. See if it's a good list, because I think this happens a lot. And I was like, I've always wondered. Sometimes I know why, and sometimes I wonder why. So let's do the introduction, and then we're going to work on today's list. Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Drop us a positive comment in the comment section, and please stick around to the end of the video so that you can check out some of the positive comments from previous videos. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me, and all of my information, including my email, is underneath this video. Okay? All right, let's take a look at this list, okay? Number one, why do we maintain relationships that no longer align with us? Fear of the unknown. This makes sense to me. Some of the times it's because you're afraid of what will happen if you don't. Like, I can remember being in these situations, and it's kind of like, well, if I don't see this person, if I stop seeing this person, if I stop engaging with this person, then what's going to happen? Who am I going to be around? What's going to happen to me? What am I going to do? So it's kind of unknown. It's like an unknown variable. What will happen? So some people don't do it because of that fear of, I don't know what's going to happen if I don't do this. Number two, fear of loneliness. I think this one is going to be huge for a lot of people, because I think that the fear of loneliness stops a lot of us from disengaging with bad company. Seriously. I think a lot of us are afraid, like, well, this person is better than nothing. I've had so many people come to me and tell me that the person that they're with is not the person that they want to be with, but that they don't want to be alone. So they have basically settled for this person because they don't want to experience loneliness. They've either experienced it before, or they're just afraid of what will happen if they experience it. So this is what occurs. Minimizing or normalizing problems. Some people feel like everybody has problems, or they grew up in a dysfunctional home that had lots of problems. So they kind of normalize it and they minimalize it because they're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, my lover threw an iron at my head, but I'm okay. Something like that. You're looking like, what? What? So some people do normalize the dysfunction. They minimalize it. They make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. So to those people, even though the situation is not aligning with them, because they're used to dysfunction, they rock out with it. They keep dealing with it, even though something in their gut knows that this situation is not right for them. Lack of self-attunement. This means that you're not in tune with yourself, or no, you're not in tune with yourself enough to know that this does not align with you. You might feel like something is a little bit off, or you might not even feel that. You might just go along with it day to day for other reasons and not be in tune again enough with your own spirit to even hear your intuition telling you this isn't for you. That's a really big problem. Low self-esteem. I see this a lot too. I can't do any better. What am I going to do by myself? Nobody else is going to want me. I'm too old. I have too many kids. I hear a lot of men and women tell me that basically their esteem is in the gutter, so they don't think they can do any better. Their confidence isn't there. So if I walk away from this person who's not aligned with me, how am I going to find anybody this good or better? And a lot of times, the person that they're with reinforces that idea because they know that they're not aligned with that person. If somebody's not aligned with you, sometimes they do know, but they're keeping you for a reason. The same way you're keeping them because you're lonely or you have a low self-esteem, they're keeping you for some reason as well because they know that you're not aligned, so they could be keeping you for the same or for different reasons. So a lot of times those people will make you feel like you need to be with them, like you need to be in this relationship because of that. Believing we are in a relationship we deserve. Not feeling like you deserve any better, like this is all I deserve. And that could be because of your self-esteem, or it could be because of guilt from things you've done in the past. Sometimes a person doesn't feel like they deserve anything better because they've hurt other people. They feel like, oh, this is just my karma. But the truth is that in most of those cases, it could have been your karma, but you don't have to stay in the situation. You can still walk away from it. But these people don't think they deserve any better. Waiting for the person to change. Oh my God. How many of you have been in a relationship with a man or a woman and you're like, if only this person was honest. If only this person stopped going to the club. If only this person wasn't an addict. If only this person had more integrity. If only this person's sex drive was similar to mine. You have all of these things that you don't quite like, and you keep working on them and tweaking the person and hoping that they're going to change to what you want. And the truth is that in most cases that never occurs. So you're waiting for them to get better. You're waiting for them to be healthier. You're waiting for them to take their medicine or address their bipolar disorder or whatever, go to therapy, whatever you're hoping that they're going to do, that they're going to change, they're going to step up to the plate, they're going to be a better lover. And it never happens. And in some cases it does. Because if you look at it statistically speaking, most people don't change. But all it takes is for you to see one person you think changed for you to be like, maybe this person can change too. And in most of those cases, that person needs to change. But waiting for someone to change is always a bad idea because it's a gamble. And chances are, like I said before, most people don't do it. Most people don't change. I remember watching my mother waiting for my father to change. And my grandmother said to her, your hair is black now. I'll never forget this. My grandmother was a Capricorn, and she said exactly what she felt. She never even tried to sugarcoat things. She just said it. And she told my mother, she said, your hair is black now, and you'll be waiting for him to act right, and your hair will have turned white. So basically, she was telling her, he's never going to change. And my grandmother, I really do believe, was speaking from her relationship because my grandfather never changed. So I think she was just like, look, girl, been there, done that. It's not going to happen. And she was hipping my mother to it. And I was being newsy and listening, and I never forgot that. Most people do not change. And you have to either accept them as they are, which a lot of times you shouldn't, because a lot of times what they are is toxic to you and toxic to themselves, or you need to accept them or move on. So in this particular case, this happens a lot. A sense of guilt, responsibility, or dependency. So you feel guilty about walking away from them, which an emotionally manipulative person will use this against you and make you feel guilty. You feel a sense of responsibility to them. So you feel like you have to be there for them. You have to take care of them. Like, for instance, if I leave him, a woman said to me the other day, she said, if I leave him, he can't take care of himself. That's what she told me. I've had men say that to me before. I remember one guy told me, she's not going to be able to parent without me, and my kids are going to suffer. So some people think it's their responsibility, or they're codependent or dependent on the other person. So it's like, we're not aligned, but I can't take care of myself. We're not aligned, but I can't afford my rent without this person. So now you are dependent on them, or they're dependent on you, and you hang in there even though you're not in alignment, and in most cases becoming more increasingly unhappy. Embarrassment of failure. Oh God. So many people say this to me. They're like, what is my mom going to say? What is my dad going to say? What are my friends going to say? One man told me, I've been divorced 4 times. I can't get divorced again. And I'm like, you can get divorced as many times as you want to. Elizabeth Taylor got married, I think, 9 times. There is no time limit on it. But if you continuously getting divorced, you need to take some time to figure out what's going on. So some people are embarrassed that they failed again. Yet another relationship has failed again. I remember feeling this myself in one of my last relationships. I was with the Taurus. You guys know about the Taurus. And when we broke up, I was so embarrassed to change my status back to single from in a relationship on Facebook. So instead of changing it back to single, I just removed relationship off of my whole profile. So I didn't have to face the fact that I had failed again with the same person again. So that does happen. And I left anyway. Even though I knew I was going to be embarrassed, I did it anyway. And that's what this one is saying to me. It's like, yeah, you might be embarrassed that you failed again, but that's no reason to hang in there. You know, I'd rather deal with the embarrassment than deal with the lack of alignment. Worrying about hurting the other person. This is another one I think is really big. I think a lot of people stay with people not to hurt them, because you care about them. You've been with them for God knows how long. You don't want to be with them anymore. You know you're not in alignment, but they might be a nice person. They might have done things for you, you know. You might really care about them, but you just know that you're not in alignment. So you stay with them because you don't want to hurt them, but you're really hurting yourself. And 9 times out of 10, you could be hurting them anyway, because they might know that you don't want to be with them, and you're only there because you're pitying them or feeling sorry for them, which doesn't feel good either. Misconceptions about love and relationships. A lot of people have misconceptions about love and relationships, because the way that we learn love and relationships is from our elders and from socialization. And some of the times those things are dysfunctional. You know, your elders' relationships might not have been that great. You might be looking at fairy tales and expecting things to be happily ever after. The other day I said, I really love the idea of love, but the reality is never as good as my fantasy. Never. My fantasies about love are way better than the reality of it. So many of us suffer from misconceptions about love and relationships. So we stay in a relationship that we're not aligned with, potentially because of one of these misconceptions. We might have the misconception that you stay with the person regardless of what happens or what they do. You just hang on to them. I hear people say this all the time. They'll be like, no matter what they do, I'm ride or die. I'm going to stay there. They can cheat. They can do this. They can do that. They can kill my mother. I'm going to hang in there. And some people really believe that that is something that is noble or a good idea. And I'm looking at them like, that's not good for anybody. So those misconceptions will mess us up. Modeled behavior. The model behavior goes back, in my opinion, to when we talked about the socialization and the elders. So you might have watched your mother stay with a man or a woman that they weren't aligned with. You may have watched your father, your grandfather, your caretakers. You could have seen those around you, neighbors, people staying with people who weren't in alignment. And some kind of way you've now put it in your head that this is okay for you. You're modeling somebody else's dysfunctional behavior, but you're not really realizing it. And some people never do. And the last one says a lack of self-trust. This means that you are in tune with yourself and you feel it. You feel like this isn't right. When I was with Voldemort, I used to feel sick. Every time I spent time with him, I felt nauseous. And I knew this, and I knew why. And it kept happening. And I was like, when it first happened, I was like, I kind of blew it off. But it kept happening. I was not trusting my instinct. My instinct was telling me, get away from this person. My instinct was telling me, this is not in alignment. My instinct was telling me, you're in danger. Yo, you're in danger. Leave this person alone. But I did not trust my intuition. I had my own self-love issues and probably some other things on this list too. Maybe everything on this list. But that's what was happening, and I wasn't trusting it because I knew. So this is a situation where you know your lover is the wrong person. You know they're emotionally abusive. You know they're fucked up. You know you shouldn't be with that person. And time again, you spend time. You take their phone calls. You keep seeing them. You keep letting sex, lust, loneliness, model behavior, whatever kind of psychological, subconscious thing you have going on, you let that override your intuitive senses because your intuition already knows. If every time somebody touches you, you feel nauseous, that's somebody you shouldn't let touch you. And you know that, but because of other reasons, you're doing it anyway. So some of you might have something similar going on. You might get nauseous or get a bad feeling or something. Your senses, your intuition will warn you in whatever way it can. And the thing is, don't ignore it. Okay? So I agree with these. This is an excellent list. Sarah, the millennial therapist, once again, I will put her information underneath this video, but she's on point. She's on point all the time. I love that list. And you probably can add some more to it. So if you know other ones you can add to that list, please let us know in the comment section. Tiana is our first positive comment. Tiana said Aquarius men crave romance, regardless how they appear. Aquarius men do not all crave romance. All people don't crave romance. That's a misconception, okay? Everybody in the world, all 6 million, 8 billion of us, not all of us have the same needs and wants. Some people don't like romance. Some people think that romance is corny or cheesy or unrealistic. Some people think that whole concept is something that women and poets made up. which we kind of did. Kind of, sort of. It depends on where you want to go with it. Everybody isn't romantic. Everybody isn't into romance. Some people are. I am. I think it's one of the greatest things in the world. But it's a misconception to think that everybody's into it. And then you're going to be looking at them sideways like, well, you're Aquarius. Why aren't you being romantic? You know? Because you got a misconception. That's not true. That's like saying, look at any other zodiac sign, for example, and just pick one and saying, well, all of you are this way. Most of them could be. A lot of them could be. It could be very common, but not all. That's the thing I can't stand about the internet when it comes to the zodiac. People think that one sun sign, everybody in that sign does or doesn't do a thing. And that's not true. It's based on their natal chart. So I'm romantic, but my dad isn't. Not at all. Not at all. And I just be like, ugh, but it's not his thing. And that's fair. The one said, I am Capricorn, and Aquarius is the best zodiac sign and my favorite zodiac sign ever. That's what's up, the one. I really appreciate that. And similarly, my grandmother was a Capricorn, and she is my all-time favorite person. So I must give you that. All right, guys, time for me to get going. You come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.